Going to get on to our live music. Black Magick Marching Band is here. Daniel, thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
it. Just been listening a lot to music and really interested in talking to you about the music. Before we talk, let's hear some music. How's that?
All right.
Cool.
Sounds good. Welcome to the jungle. You can neatly print your name. Take a seat and we'll see you in the order that you came. You say you've gotten older and the world is turning void. Thought you had it covered, yeah, right strategies deployed, and the dream once held in common was squandered just to live. Don't bother begging mercy now. Rock and roll never forgives. Oh. You woke one bleary morning with feelings bought on loan. Total dissatisfaction, yeah, you wanna rage and atone. And on them velvet freeways, those interstellar miles, you long to waste a lifetime, yeah, slip free from all the trials, but you just can't keep on running. You can't find a place to hide. Time's a real bastard, yeah, and time ain't on your side. 'Cause the dreams once held in common were squandered just to live. Don't bother begging mercy now. Rock and roll never forgives. Oh. Round Thunderwing Bend, past the Hallow Halls, in the gaslight gloomy, past the record stalls. You better mind your step, you better keep your head, or you wind up hapless, bloodless, loveless and dead. As you creeping in the dark of the night, you don't feel nothing till you feel that bite. Some kind of monster gonna make his mark and leave you face down alone in the dark. There's another option, but it's probably worse. At the end of the line, just a hack and a hearse, and there's no kind of nothing looking under your bed. 1 minute you're here, and the next you're dead. There's no creeping in the dark of the night. You don't feel nothing till you feel that bite. Some kind of monster gonna make his mark and leave you face down alone in the dark, and it gives you the fear to state it so plain. Life has no mystery, you just circle the drain. Reality ain't nothing but merely skin deep, and that's a mean kind of thing that'll worry your sleep. As you creeping in the dark of the night, you don't feel nothing till you feel that bite. Some kind of monster gonna make his mark and leave you face down alone in the dark. All right. And this one here is a relatively new song called Queen of Stars. spent the 9-day rain, a Lady Jane, drinking mint tea out in the rain. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't fun, till the green marquee shot down the sun. Still the whole damn crew, they caught the blues when the telegraph kid hit us with the news. Lady Jane was gone away, and Scary Mary here to stay, singing, hey ho, it's the Queen of Hearts, all secret charms and wicked arts. Hey ho, it's the Queen of Stars, oh you get yours, and we'll get ours. Oh, we all freaked out on the roundabout when sad Queen Kate began to pout. We had our inklings, had our fears, and she whispered nonsense in our ears on borrowed time in rented places. Annie all alone just pulling faces with heavy head and heavy crown. Why'd she lighten up and we darken down, saying, hey ho, it's the Queen of Hearts, all secret charms and wicked arts. Hey ho, it's the Queen of Stars, oh you get yours, and we'll get ours. Long ago and far away, all the world was but a play. Far away and long ago, we never were, and you'll never know. Long ago and far away, all the world was but a play. Far away and long ago, oh we never were, and you'll never know, saying, hey ho, it's the Queen of Hearts, all secret charms and wicked arts. Hey ho, it's the Queen of Stars, oh you get yours and we'll get ours. Hey ho, it's the Queen of Hearts, all secret charms and wicked arts. Hey ho, it's the Queen of Stars, oh you get yours, and we'll get ours.
New stuff, huh?
Yeah.
How recent?
So I wrote that song probably 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay.
Had a show at Phyllis's playing with some good friends of mine, the League of Erics, and they asked me to play their league night that they do there on Thursdays. And so I always try to work up some new material so I don't bore the living daylights out of them. So.
How long does it take you to write a song? I know it varies, depending, but do you work on a schedule? Do you kind of like tell yourself like, oh, I want to get this done by this kind of thing, or is it just more inspiration?
So I actually work several different ways. If I can actually kind of like decide, oh, I'm going to write 5 songs with this general concept or title or approach, and just sort of sit down and begin writing. And if I want to work lyrics first, I'll knock out lyrics, then marry it up. Or I might sit down and go, I'm just going to, plod riffs and concepts into a recorder and then sort it out later. Sometimes I can write a song in, 15 minutes. And sometimes it's, like an idea that's been percolating for months or even years, where it's like, I've got that riff, I really should go back to it. One of the songs off the last EP, Megafauna, was like that. There was a big dumb riff I had for years. I think initially the song was called like Lord of Heck because it was just super stupid. And then I wound up, sort of needing another song to round something up. And I'm like, let me go back to that, broke it down, kind of added a different bass line and sort of recontextualized it over time. I
was listening to... I always try to do these deep dives on all the guests that come in. So listening, and a couple of things I kind of had noticed, and I don't know if this was a concerted effort on your part. From the beginning of your releases to now, the songs seem more compact. in a way. I maybe like shorter in some regards. I feel like there's like a window you're operating like with like a 2:40 to 3.5 minute mark where I know some of the earlier stuff is a little longer. And I was wondering, like, is that something you decided you wanted to start writing kind of more compact songs, or just happened that way?
Actually, I would say that I tend to write more compact songs in general. And probably the first couple tracks that I did as Black Magick Marching Band were really just sort of, and you know, some of those songs were longer just because I was sort of padding out and like learning some new tricks and wanted to do some other stuff.
Sure.
And then as I've sort of fallen into a groove, and I work with this great mixing and mastering engineer, David Jellema, who is out in New York. And it was really his willingness to kind of work on mixing for me that allowed me to sort of stretch my legs and play some stuff out. And then as I've gotten more comfortable doing this stuff in this way, doing a lot more home recording on my own, things have just sort of, you know, kind of found their groove in this way.
Gotcha. Let's hear another song, man.
Oh, awesome. So this is a song called Iridium, which is, again, a song that has been kicking around for quite some time, and it's actually the first song off the latest EP I just put out.
Cold and clear and shiny bright, gonna go like silver and gold. Just another howler living out in the night, so wicked, so hard, so bold. Oh, 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 so brittle and all alone, living in the rain at an old payphone. A gas lamp vagabond romantic wreck, an interstellar villain at a roadside check. Keeping secrets no one knows, sticking firm to the crooked line. Keep on keeping like a wind that blows, the end of the world is a neon sign. Oh, 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 so brittle and all alone, living in the rain at an old payphone. Gas lamp vagabond romantic wreck, an interstellar villain at a roadside check. Some kind of dime store dealing, clad in black and so far away. Never thought the bill came due, and you never thought you'd ever have to pay. I know it's all a picture show, yeah, intermission at the side of the stage. Everybody gotta fall sometime, yeah, run away honey, time to turn the page. Run away honey, time to turn the page. Run away honey, time to turn the page. Every single thing's so watery and gray, living on a screen and you'll never get away. No more nighttime feeling all alone, every single barcode and every single clone saying, hey ho, don't you stabilize me. Come on now, don't you hypnotize me. Oh no, don't you standardize me. Oh, I know. Teenage wildlife probably be so sad, watch it waste away, yeah, everything we had. Record store heroes, oh they're so unsatisfied, watching as we gave up, watching as it died, saying, hey ho, don't you stabilize me. Come on, hypnotize me. Oh no, don't you standardize me. Oh, I know. Here we are in exile in the mallways of the fall. Here we sing in dial tones and no one takes the call. feeling suicidal, yeah, even hate my rock and roll. Oh, the rider's approaching now, and he never paid the toll. No, he never paid the toll, no, no, no. Every single thing so watery and gray, living on a screen and you'll never get away. No more nighttime feeling all alone. Every single barcode and every single clone saying, hey ho, don't you stabilize me. Oh no, don't you hypnotize me. Oh mama, don't you standardize me. Oh, I know, say oh, I know, say oh, I know, oh, oh, oh.
What's the origin story of Black Magick Marching Band?
That is also sort of something that sort of gestated over time. It was an idea, a title I had kicking around for years. I mean, this is how far it goes back. I think it was the name of like a Tumblr page I had at one point, where it was just like a group of words that came together that was really appealing. And I think it was in part because a million years ago, in another lifetime, I was actually in a fairly competitive marching band situation, like national championships, all that nonsense. And it was probably not as great of an experience for me as it was for other people I knew. And it just, like, that sort of idea just stuck. And then it was just sort of the idea of playing around with black magic and the occult and sort of witchy, spooky stuff. And it just sort of slapped together, and it was it felt like the right title for this project at the right time.
Yeah, I got you. What was it about the experience that you didn't enjoy it?
So I think a lot of people, when they're young and they go through an experience where they sort of achieve great things and they're sort of a very charismatic sort of coach or director, that kind of creates a cult of personality. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what's wrong with me, but I lack the school spirit gene, and I am sort of just inclined towards anti-authoritarianism. So really it was just sort of the experience to me seemed educational in the way it's like, this is how I don't wish to be as an adult. And you see like kind of adults treating minors in a way for like their own glory. It's just not my scene. Like, it was some of the camaraderie and the bonds and the you know friends you meet along the way were all great. But yeah, just sort of like the whole thing, just sort of rankled a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I'm of the same ilk. I don't really care for authority much myself. So and I think especially like we were having this adults who are using kids for their own like gratification, their own like self-serving interest. Yeah, no, I totally. That's not what it's about, right? I wanted to talk about Slouching Toward Babylon, which came out back in April.
Yes.
Was the most recent release. And again, this was the other thing I kind of was in listening, and I don't know. I maybe speak to this a little bit, but the album there's a thread through. I feel like through the album, like that a very kind of like definitive thread, and when you really listen to the songs, and they seem a little maybe more raw in a way than previous stuff that you had done. And I want to venture to say maybe a little darker in some regards, and I don't know if that's again a concerted effort on your part, or maybe just And I guess I want to. Are you okay? Or do we need to worry about you at this point?
I'm fine.
I'm kidding. I kind of just get this sense that there's a little bit of a darker edge to some of the material.
Yeah, I would say that's something that like I did not consciously sort of arrange it thematically or select the songs or sort of write the songs thematically intentionally, because I have in previous projects like done concept records where I'm like writing about a thing, and this was just sort of like working on these songs, and I noticed that there were threads. There's certain elements of like finger pointing in the songs. There's definitely, the songs are not necessarily emblematic of toxic masculinity, but there's sort of like they're not about them,
right?
Toxic masculinity. And then I kind of worked on the record over 18 months. Because I was traveling a lot for work, and I was, on the road and not in glamorous places. I'm like, staying in, reasonably priced chain hotel accommodations in places in the Midwest.
So diplomatic.
Sort of like living alone for a week or a week and a half, like in Minneapolis during, sort of lockdown for like work.
Wow.
And just like being in a hotel where there's like 3 other people, and it's like a family who's been burned out of their home and just sort of like running through the corridors. And so the songs in general kind of have like a weird sort of nightimey liminal space, poorly lit vibe. And I kind of recognize that in retrospect as, having to come up with ways to kind of talk about it and explain it to people is, they're not, there's probably a little less of the candy colored storybook stuff, which is still there. Like they're still through that like mythological lens. But they're probably a little bit raw or just a little bit grainier.
Even the chord choices on some of this stuff. I mean, really, it's a little less bright. I think on some of the earlier stuff, there's a lot some brightness to it, and this isn't as much on this album. I feel like, but now hearing you talk about some of the environmental impact upon making this record and working through this record, it gives me reason to go back and listen to it again in a different way. But no, I think and what a interesting place. You said you're in these. You're one of a handful of people in these places, and there is. I think people talk about, oh, it's so glorious. You can get on the road all the time and you can live on stuff. But as we all know, if you've done that for any amount of time, it sometimes is not as glamorous as you think it is.
Yeah, no, and especially like during, kind of during the pandemic, this was even like, 21, 22, when things had not quite opened up.
Right. And
you don't feel comfortable necessarily going out and mixing and mingling. Is like, it's a lot of like finding a place that's open late enough to get takeout to like eat it at the desk at the hotel.
Right.
And there's a little bit of that. And then, and partly it was just sort of like the stuff I was reading. There's like obviously I bogarted it from Joan Didion, but like sort of I was reading sort of like downer stuff about the 60s, and that just sort of like, sort of crept in its way.
Yeah, I think that's true even in the sound too.
Yeah.
I think, for sure. What else you got for us, man?
All right, I'll do a couple more songs.
Yeah.
This is a song I wrote last fall called Howling Sound. Every night out here on the skids, all these hungry ones, these misfit kids, all threadbare hope and magic words, every fantasy and dream obscured in the corners of the crumbled down, all the disappointment of the stupid town. There's a little bit of neon and some relief, a quick respite from gloom and grief, and you can hope to disappear where the howling sound is all you'll hear. In the nowhere out of time, you can feel unreal. It's so sublime. Down the shadow station stairs, past the iron signs that do declare all the duties owed our Lord, that can drive you blind and leave you bored. And hanging out in this nowhere night, you can run away, you can hope to fight, but everything out there feels so bad, and you're going crazy and you're feeling sad, and you can hope to disappear where the howling sound is all you'll hear. In the nowhere out of time, you can feel unreal. It's so sublime. For every dropout in the wasteland, there's a rebel princess and a teenage spaceman, longing to fly fast and free into interstellar ecstasy. And every single gripping panic in the hollow ruins of the realm satanic, they can no longer hold you in their grip. It ain't your game, it ain't your trip.
and you can hope to disappear where the howling sound is all you'll hear. In the nowhere out of time, you can feel unreal. You can feel unreal. It's sublime. As the shadows long and lonely and the bright light turns to gray, here we are, and we watch her walk away. Oh, Diana in her bower, under stars in velvet black. As soon as you are gone, my dear, the wild ones call you back. And she says half a life just passing by, and she says all here are born to die. Down fleeting streets, there she go with the tambourine in the autumn glow. In the half-frost shining twilight and the first kiss apple crisp, oh, the pop rush buzzing all night, baby, feel the whirring and the wisp. And the hazy sprawl, the half-glow, as the day slinks off to bed. And all those half-dream fancies now go swirling through your head. And she says half a life just passing by, and she says all here are born to die. Down fleeting streets, there she go with the tambourine in the autumn glow. It's the weirdest wonder ever seen, glimmering and in between, the prettiest one out on the scene, barely there and evergreen. It's the weirdest wonder ever seen, glimmering and in between, the prettiest one out on the scene. Oh, she's barely there and she's evergreen. Neath the frantic batwing roiling sky, hear the black lambrettas roaring by, as the comic cosmic sovereign king declares the end of everything. Let every freak in every scene pledge devotion to our queen. Let them form a motley queue and wait the turn to bleed for you. And you can keep on walking in your witchy boots, every wicked thing they shall salute. Your vicious vamping switchblade style and your ruby eyes and your phantom smile. All those stupid satellites rolling out there through the night, buzzing out their hopes and screams and all the manic fever dreams. Let all wail and let all sway, let all pretenses fade away. We'll all be over much and more, and then we'll get out on the floor. And you keep on walking in your witchy boots, every wicked thing they shall salute. Your vicious vamping switchblade style and your ruby eyes and your phantom smile. Every dancer dressed in green goes flickering across the screen, and every dancer dressed in red will wear a crown upon her head. And every dancer dressed in white is luminous and out of sight, come the rider all in black, and you go away, and you don't come back. Yeah, you go away, and you don't come back. But you keep on walking in your witchy boots, every wicked thing they shall salute. Your vicious vamping switchblade style, and your ruby eyes, and your phantom smile. Yeah, your ruby eyes, and your phantom smile.
What were those last two songs that we heard?
Oh, those are actually two songs from last fall. The last one I just did was Witchy Boots, and the one prior to that was called Persephone Says.
Persephone Says. Are you working on new stuff now? I mean, obviously, you just got this new record out in April, but are you working on new stuff at this point? Are you looking to release more? Anything?
I am. I'm actually. I've got a little pile of new songs here that I've been kind of showcasing and doing live and sort of figuring out how that works. So I've probably got either one full LP or two EPs that I'll probably do there. There's a couple one-off singles I want to do. The song Barcode that I did earlier, I've kind of got grand ambitions of slathering all sorts of nonsense and fuzz guitars on that. And then I've had an LP's worth of material with the working title Idiot Mystics kicking around for probably since before this project started that I'd like to do, and I just have not. In fact, Slouching Towards Babylon was the stopgap I was going to do before I really dug in and worked on the LP, and then just things got weird.
It's tough, when all the wheels are turning at the same time. It's sometimes it's tough to focus on the one thing.
Yeah,
it's not a bad problem to have because the flip side is you're just trying to pull teeth to get something going. Do you ever run into that? Do you ever run into the writer's block or performance block at all, anything like that?
Not really. And partly I kind of find that's because, in my career and like academically, I've always just had to churn out stuff as part of my job or as just, like when you're working on an undergraduate degree or a master's degree, like I had writer's block. I don't have anything to turn in. Like you just have to work.
Sure. And
so I kind of got in that habit, and especially when I was working on my master's, like I felt like the lid pop off the can, and it's like there was basically an infinite amount of stuff. Now, mind you, not all of that stuff is good, but at least like the well is there, and then it becomes like an editing and sorting job.
Yeah. Again, it's not a bad problem to have not at all. That's good. I was going to ask you were talking about new stuff that you're writing and you perform it. How much does that help craft what ultimately the song becomes? Does it something that you really like? Are you just working out the kinks in the middle of it, or are you really looking for a finished product when you're doing that?
So I find it as a way to work out kinks and kind of see what the songs tell you that they are. Because like sometimes you'll start something and it's like, actually that song Howling Sound I did. It started off a lot slower, a lot more reserved, a lot more pensive, and it has gotten more muscular as I've performed it, as I've sort of, messed around with including another verse. It sort of has toughened up, and now in my head I hear it less like this sort of like spacey sort of spooky psychedelic song that's going to run slow, and it's almost sort of got like sort of a Springsteenian like muscularity behind it that is interesting. So it probably means that I'll approach it when I go to properly arrange it and really dig in. Like I'm probably going to be thinking about different things than just sort of, slapping the fake Mellotron and the 12-string guitars on top of it.
You mentioned just having this Springsteen kind of thing. You what have been your influences? What are you? I mean, are there things that you just keep finding yourself going back to find that inspiration, and even like is there new stuff that you're finding inspiration from?
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of like the core stuff that I've always been influenced by, it's it's all very obvious sort of Spin magazine, sort of Paste magazine, best of stuff. So it's the Beatles, the Kinks, the Who, Springsteen, Dylan, like all of that stuff is underpinning that. But like really for like Black Magick Marching Band, like I kind of created a little mood board before I started the project because it was 2020. I wasn't doing anything else. And it was really like, I think what I wrote down like in my little notebook was like Gothic Beatles, and like starting from there and kind of bringing in bits of, obviously The Cure, which is another band I love. The Kinks were a big part of that. Nick Drake, which really didn't show up here. And then like
but it's there. I mean, it's definitely there.
Yeah, and then obviously David Bowie's like a big influence of mine, and so like there was no denying that, but sort of kind of focusing on some of that stuff. Then thinking about like the Left Bank and like some of like the Syd Barrett solo stuff, and it just sort of went from there. So really kind of thinking about in terms of years, sort of. Thinking about like mid 66 to about 71 was what I was shooting for. Mm-hmm. And then from there, it's just sort of metastasized. So it's taken on a life of its own.
You mentioned The Cure, because I was listening to something. For me, I do kind of hear like this almost like the 80s British jangle pop kind of stuff at times. Very much so. The one band I kept talking, and I forget what I was listening to earlier today, but the Water Boys. There's a little bit, but I kind of like feel it has that feel to it. And I take this as a high compliment because I love that stuff. That's my generation.
Yeah, so. Like I love that stuff. A lot of like the Paisley Underground stuff.
Right.
A lot of the sort of post punk stuff where it got sort of I'm thinking like Felt and like that sort of stuff where it's sort of a lot of like the C86 bands, like all of that stuff is in there.
Right. Isn't it interesting how it becomes just this melting pot? It's just all these things that are thrown in, and somehow you can hear all of these things, but it's not just so definitively that thing, right?
Exactly. That was kind of my goals. I didn't want to do like a reenactment. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't want to go, okay, well, I'm going to do this but new. Mm-hmm. And then one of the things like songwriting wise, and this is I spent a lot of time listening to the collected works of an underappreciated artist, Taylor Swift, and like sort of that happened, and like so there's a lot of like girl group and like and like really sort of like high pop stuff that's sort of like baked in, but yeah, it's just sort of that's kind of the melting pot, and then just sort of dumping it into the void. So.
Yeah, I got you. I hear you. Well, there's so much. I mean, we're inundated constantly. There's so much music now. Yeah. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, any time. I mean, you can't escape even riding the train or the bus. It's constantly going on. Which it's kind of funny because I think I used to that kind of stuff really when it first introduced used to bother me. Now as I go along, I'm like, actually, it's a good song. Like it's good. Exactly. It makes the bus ride, the train ride a lot more fun. I'm gonna get a couple more from you. Okay. If you got what do we got next?
Oh, this is a newer song called "Vampires and Other Vampires," and I know it's a big, it's a favorite of one of the Erics in the League of Erics. So we'll give it to the Erics. So. Vampires and other vampires, not all of the same kind. Some of them will break your heart, and some just take your mind. Vampires and other vampires, all creeping through the street, dishing out those violent smiles to everyone they meet. Ooh-wee, alright, oh yeah. Ooh-wee, alright, oh yeah. Ooh-wee, alright, oh yeah. Ooh-wee, alright, oh yeah. Monster
monsters and other monsters all looking out of sight. Sometimes you just wanna go out roaring through the night. Monsters and other monsters in safe suburban homes. Everybody watch out now when the wicked one he roams. Ooh, he alright, oh yeah. 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 Creatures and other creatures, oh, they live and die alone. Everyone a riddle, yes, and everyone unknown. Creatures and other creatures all cast into the fray. Here just for a minute, then they're left to fade away. And we'll fly again tonight. Yes, we'll fly again tonight. Yes, we'll fly again tonight. Yes, we'll fly again tonight.
What shows you got coming up? Anything? Any live stuff going on?
I actually do not have anything scheduled coming up, largely because I have a very busy month ahead. At the end of the month, I'm headed off to Shanghai and Tokyo for work.
Fantastic.
And then
That's cool.
Going to take a little vacation to visit a friend of mine in Japan. My wife's going to fly over and join me in Tokyo, and we're going to go do that.
That's amazing.
And then,
yeah. Have you been before?
I have never been to China before, but I've been to Japan several times.
You enjoy it? Is it? I've never traveled there, but I mean, I hear.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
and,
that's what I hear.
And it's also, when you have a friend there and you can kind of see a slightly different perspective than the tourist perspective,
Sure.
That's always great.
Yeah.
And so you kind of get to, sort of sneak around the sort of basic tourist premises.
Right. Yeah, lean a little bit on the person
Yeah.
who already lives there, for sure. Well, cool. Well, safe travels, man. That sounds
right.
awesome. Black Magick Marching Band, thanks so much. And just real quick, if any socials or anything like that, people want to check out what's going on.
Okay, you can check out Black Magick Marching Band on Instagram at Black Magick Marching Band. That's magic with a K. Also on Facebook, and then on Bandcamp, Spotify, YouTube, all the places, Black Magick Marching Band, and it's been great. Thank you so much, Mike.
Daniel, thank you for coming in, man. It's awesome.
All right.
Great chatting with you. I really love the new record. And now, knowing again what I know now, I'm going to go back and listen to it and think about you running those dark, nasty corridors of the, the Marriott Residence Inn or whatever it is. So, anyway, thanks so much,
All right,
man.
thank you.
Black Magick Marching Band, live from the Que4 studio. Get a few more minutes here. I'm going to...